just going to hit continue. Class bed's being put on. Yep, continue. Now following the instructions, continue. Okay, so here we have the setup of the XY offset, and it's laying down the first pattern. So what it's going to do is it's going to draw a pattern on the front left hand side, and then once it's done that, it'll go to the back and do the back pattern. So there's a little bit in this process to get it all up and running, but once we've done this, it's going to be an absolute dream to maintain. So we won't have to do very much at all. So we just need to make sure we get these first step right, and we'll be good to go. So you can see it actually doing the pattern there, and then it's going to do the steps in between. Okay, so now it's doing the back one. So now it's doing the calibration lines up and down the rectangle that it's just drawn. Get in there, you can actually see them being done. Okay, so now it's running through the second head. So it needs to do it with both heads.
Alright, so it's telling us that we've got to remove the bed, so we'll do that, and we'll try really hard not to mess up the print. Be careful when you do this, kids, because that glass is a little bit worn.
So let's have a look at how it's printed. Very nicely.
It is.
Yep. For a very first print, that's done quite a nice job.
Alright, so we'll hit continue. Place the glass plate on top of the XY calibration sheet. This is what we're looking for, the XY calibration sheet.
Yep.
So now we're going to place this on top. Alright, so that's basically what it's telling us to do. Alrighty.
Okay, so what we're looking for here is the lines that are exactly lined up. So that will give us the exact location of where we need to calibrate the machine to.
So we set the x-axis on the machine to -1, because that's what we've discovered. Alright, find the y offset.
Okay, so if you have a look here, it looks like it's going to be -1 on both.
Yeah.
So it appears there it's spot on at both -1. But that might not be the case with you, so you definitely need to do this process yourself.
Alright, so if we take a look at the screen here, it's telling us that the X and Y offsets between the current print cores is now calibrated. So, as Michael was just saying, this is how we've set up our machine. When you set yours up, it may be different. So, just be careful when you're going through your calibration to ensure that you're doing it correctly. Otherwise, you could have your calibration off, and then your print won't work properly.
Okay, so what I'm using here is the Ultimaker's glue stick. And I'm just going to put it over the area that the terminator head's going to be stuck on. So it's just going into that middle section there. Just a nice amount. I wouldn't normally use this, but this is what Ultimaker recommends, so I'm going to give it a crack with the first one. Okay, so we've loaded in the Terminator T800. Looks like a really nice model. We're going to do the CPU afterwards. We'd just like to get this one going because it's going to take a fairly long time. Even on fast, we're getting 2 days and 13 hours. So it's a pretty big print. What I've gone and done is I've gone into the advanced settings and I've changed it to the infill density to 10% because it's just a display piece, so it doesn't need to have a lot of structure to it. And then all the other settings are fine. We've got the AA 0.4 for the normal nozzle, the PLA, and then the PVA, we've got that as the BB, so we're ready to rock and roll. Okay, so now that we've sliced it all up, I'm going to hit print over network, which immediately brings up the inside of the screen, and there it is showing it's transferring the information. Now this is going to take a couple of minutes because it is a fair bit of data, so don't be surprised if it takes up to 2 to 3 minutes if you've got a large file. Of course, if you've got something small, it's not going to take very long, but this is a 2-day print, so I would imagine it's going to take at least 2 or 3 minutes. So we'll cut it off here and we'll get back to you shortly. Oh, here we go, it's doing the real deal. Alright, so we've probably cut out a few minutes there because it's taken about 2.5 to 3 minutes for us to actually get all the data across, which isn't too bad considering how much we had to actually transfer.
I think we are.
Terminator, eat your heart out, we're coming. Okay, so here we have the start of the print. This is where the magic happens.
Oh, excitement builds.
So here you see the start of it. Now this is actually a good sign. When it does that blob at the start and extrudes out some material, it's just basically cleaning the head and getting it ready to get going on the print. And here we go. So here we have it doing the outer layer. It's just doing the very first line, and if you have a look all the way around, it's doing an absolutely perfect job. So it's adhering beautifully to the bed all the way around. It hasn't missed a spot. So that is a very, very good sign for this printer. And my glue works not too bad either. I seem to have gotten in all the right spots. Perfect. Okay, so this is our first action on the PVA. So I just did a little bit out and it's left it halfway along. I'll pick that up and move that in a second, but it's now off and running. I grabbed that little string of PVA and now it's going along. But the PVA seems to be going down beautifully, just as well as the PLA. So that's very interesting. Okay, so we're a couple hours in now. Now if we come over to the T800, it's printing along beautifully. It's doing a really nice work with the PVA. The PVA's doing a great job. It's really clean and doing a beautiful job. Like if you look at the PVA, that's incredible. Like even they've seemed to have even fixed up the internal structure. The Ultimaker 2 Plus seemed to not be quite as nice on the inside as it was on the outside, and now with this new 3, it certainly looks like they have fixed that right up. I can zoom in on it. You'll be able to see what I mean. Yeah, that's looking much nicer.
Alright, so this is what we've been waiting for. The dissolvable filament inside the water. So what we've done is we've dropped it inside a fish tank, thrown a set of pliers on top because we couldn't get it to stay down so we could do the video. And as you can see here, it's dissolving really, really well. And we did a little bit of a cheat too. So what we did is we put some warm water in it to start with, and that actually helped accelerate the degradation of the PVA. So it's done a really gorgeous job. And now if we move on to the actual finished product, you can see the quality that we've gotten out of this. It's really gorgeous. We used an aluminium type filament of PLA, and it's come up gorgeously. Like if you can see the shine and the detail, it's done an absolutely amazing job. I really love the quality that I can get out of this particular printer. So please, if you liked the video, put it down as we like it, subscribe to us, and come back and see us, because we're going to make sure we've got videos coming up all the time, and you can write to us and tell us what you want done next.